Okay, go.
My grandparents, my mother's parents, are currently living in Cleveland, Ohio, but my grandfather works in the local hospital as a physician, and my grandmother works from home. My grandfather is a very kind-hearted, caring, and gentle man. My grandfather was born in the year 1942 and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, by his mother and extended family. His father died when he was 5 years old. He was a pampered only child, and he was a child they pinned their hopes and dreams on. As a matter of fact, my mother once asked her father, my grandfather, what made him decide to become a doctor. He replied, "Ever since I was very young, my family told me that I was going to make it and become a doctor." He works many long hours and will probably retire soon. I do not see my grandfather all that much, even when we visit, because he comes home very late and leaves very early in the morning to go to the hospital. Since I was born in Cleveland and lived there until I was around 5 years old, we often had the opportunity to bike to my grandparents and visit them. I have many fond memories of his babysitting for me and taking me to museums on Sunday afternoons. Once, when my father's grandfather passed away, my parents rushed to New York left us for a day or two by my grandparents. Lo and behold, while they were away, there was a terrible snowstorm, and the flight was delayed, and they could not return for a week. That was the first time I was away from my parents for such a long time. I do not remember it being sad or difficult, but I do remember the fun we had looking at the weather forecast every hour, hoping for the safe return. The story that I'm about to tell takes place in the year 1952, in Cleveland, Ohio, when my grandfather was around 10 years old. Lost and found. When I was a little boy, I did not like Hebrew school. So when my uncle would drop me off at school, I would go into the building and wait for my friend. And then, when no one was looking, we would then sneak through the back door and play outside the rest of the day. No one but my friend and I knew of this little trick. One day in the winter, we went through our usual routine. We went out the back door and went off to frolic in the park. We decided that we would go in the forest behind the school building and play. We were throwing snowballs and playing hide and go seek when suddenly I cried out, "My glasses are gone!" In those days, glasses were very expensive, and we were not from a rich home. I decided that if I would just ignore it, and I hoped that my hard-working mother would not notice. When I got home, as we were sitting down to eat supper, my mother asked, "Where are your glasses, son?" I was so nervous. I didn't know what to say. I realized that if I tell her I lost them, I would have to tell her how I lost them. And if I told her how I lost them, I would have to tell her what I was doing in the forest. I was trapped. She repeated the question. Well, Billy and I were playing in the snow, and, I lost my glasses, I said slowly. "Weren't you in school?" she asked me. "Yes." Then I added quickly, "For about a minute." "What?" I knew this was it. I had to break the news. "Well, Billy and I really hate Hebrew school, so we decided that we'd skip school and have some fun. So today," I continued, "we went out in the back of the school and we were playing, and only later did I realize that my glasses were gone." By the look on my mother's face, I could tell that she was really angry. "Come on, put on your coat," she ordered me. Where was she taking me, I wondered. We walked and walked until I recognized the block of my building. I started getting panicky. "Now, where did you lose your glasses?" she demanded as we reached the side of the building. Somewhere over there." I pointed to a snowy bush. Before I knew it, we were on our hands and knees, searching through the frosty snow for the lost glasses. After about an hour and a half of searching, I was tired and ready to give up, when suddenly, out of the blue, I saw a metal glint shining from beneath the frosty snow. I hesitatingly lifted them up, and I couldn't believe it. My glasses were intact. Well, I did actually have to go to Hebrew school after that, every single week. The life lesson that I learned was not to dismiss a loss until you really make an effort to find that which you have misplaced. And the lesson that my mother wanted me to learn, which I do until today, was to value my possessions.